So by God, we've made esteemed audience wait long enough. Let's hear this flying saucer story.
All right. I have to tell you, first of all, that it is true. What I'm about to tell you is true. And if my 78-year-old mother were here, she would corroborate it with me because she was with me at the time. And we often talk about it when people bring up UFOs. So I was probably 8 years old, and my mom and I were driving to Framingham from Newton Highlands on Route 9, and we looked up in the sky, and I remember it was around like this, like it was sort of at this level from my eyesight. So it was sort of directly in front of me and low in the horizon. And we saw a flying saucer, hand to God, totally honest. And it was just what you would think a flying saucer would look like. It looked like a bowl or two bowls sort of like stacked onto each other. And my mom said, "What is that?" And I said, "What is that?" And we pulled over to the side of the road. And so did a ton of other cars. So we weren't the only ones who saw it. And a lot of people got out of their cars, and we were looking at this flying saucer, and we watched it, and it just kind of like hovered, and then it kind of went, and then we all went back into our cars, and we drove to phone booths. And we drove to a phone booth and called the police and said, "We just saw this thing." And they said, "We're getting calls from everywhere about it. We'll give us your number and we'll call you back." And they never called us back. But I don't know what it was. I mean, it's just being like a logical person. It could have been maybe a blimp. Like maybe it was
a blimp that took off. Like,
yeah, that doesn't make sense, right? Like maybe it was something earthly that we just had never seen before, but that's what we experienced. So that's my flying saucer story. People don't always believe me when I tell it, but it's true.
Oh, I 100% believe you. I used to flirt back and forth when I asked this question about maybe I believe, maybe I don't. I don't bother with that anymore. I 100% believe.
I mean, I'm open-minded to sorry, my earphone's falling out of my ear. I'm open-minded to the possibility that it looked like a UFO and was something else. But my mother and I both feel pretty confident that it was a flying saucer.
Well, throughout 2020, it's gotten buried under all the other headlines. The Pentagon has been steadily confirming the existence of flying saucers. So this is this is the time.
2020, it's where everything unravels.
That's where we find out that the simulation was actually a simulation all along. That makes sense. It was getting a little unbelievable toward the end anyway, so fair enough.
I hope we discover that. That would be great.
It's a fantasy of mine that we'll discover that it's a simulation when we're tired of this, and now we can go on to another reality and start a new game. Good times.
Sounds like it's time.
It's getting there.
Time to start a new game.
I keep thinking about the original version of SimCity, and when you got bored with building your city, you turn on the disasters, and I feel like that's where we're at with our simulation.
I know, but maybe it's with those disasters where we can build something better. So maybe we're not quite done yet. This gives us a chance to rebuild in ways that are healthier for people, I hope.
Year mount to the simulation master's ears. I hope that's what we're doing. And you lucky duck, not only have you seen a flying saucer, you've got ghost stories to share as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I have some ghost stories, but they're not as good as the flying saucer story. So maybe we'll just leave it at the flying saucer.
I can't coax you a little bit.
All right. It's weird. It's a little weird though.
We like weird.
You like weird? All right. I have had the experience of having dreams where people who have recently died have come and like told me messages to give to people. And it's happened 3 times in dreams. And so it's, again, could just be a dream, like dreaming about the people who died, or maybe it's really real. So I don't really know. But each time it's happened to me, I've given the message that happened in my dream to the person, just in case it was true. That's my ghost story. It's not really a ghost story. It's more like I've had some interesting dreams that seemed like maybe they were messages from people, but whether or not they were, it seemed like a good idea to tell the person that they were about what the dream was about.
And the people that received those messages, did they make good on them and their life was made better as a result?
I don't really know. One time it was one time it was sort of like a message of forgiveness. I don't know I don't really know what people do with what people have really, how they've reacted about with these. So I don't really know.
Listen to me, I'm so greedy. You've written this incredible novel.
I know, I'm just kind of embarrassed.
I've just read and enjoyed your wonderful novel. We've gotten to talk about it, and now I want ghost stories. It's never enough.
It's not really a ghost story. The UFO story was a real UFO story. The ghost stories are more like weird dreams.
Fair enough. Well, once the simulation is revealed, everything will line up and make sense. And be, oh, of course. So that all that. Well, my last question for you, and then I'll let you go, because I appreciate you being such an amazing and wonderful guest this evening and being so gracious with your time.
Thank you.
My last question is always some variation of, if you could get in that DeLorean time machine and go back wherever you want at some point in your earlier career and give yourself some advice that would have made things easier for you and that might make things easier for all the writers who are listening to us now, what would you go back and say to yourself?
Oh, that's an easy one. Don't give up. It's going to happen. And I think that that's a message that all writers need to hear. That if you just keep on trying, you're gonna get there.
That and some stock tips, and you'd be set.